Greetings, beloved. This is your host once again, the Reverend Gary Spears of Grace Missionary Fellowship. It is a joy to be able to come back into your hearts and homes. We are now starting a new series. That's where I make an attempt to answer some of your questions that you email and even text me. And the question that I was asked today was from a listener in North Carolina. Her name is Caroline. And she asked, could I point out some scriptures in the Bible that talks a little bit about Nicodemus, as she had trouble finding any information regarding Nicodemus. So today, beloved, what I want to do is I want to refer you to the Gospel according to St. John. The Gospel according to St. John, and I want you to turn to chapter 3 if you can. And there you will find our first point of reference for Nicodemus. And Nicodemus came to Jesus because he had some theological issues. Nicodemus was wrestling with this Jesus, while many of his colleagues were simply dismissing and denying the miracles and the teachings of Jesus. Nicodemus paid close attention as to what was happening. And you find that in the beginning of chapter 3, Nicodemus acknowledged that Jesus was from God, because no man could do these miracles except God was with him. He acknowledges that. And that's when Jesus, even in this third chapter, goes back and shares with Nicodemus that you must be born again. And he takes the time and explains to Nicodemus exactly what it is to be born again. Nicodemus shows up in John chapter 3. We are told that he came to Jesus by night. And let me say right off the bat that many teach that Nicodemus was some kind of coward or he was afraid. I ask you to consider this. Nicodemus could have came to Jesus by night because he respected the time of Jesus and realized that during the day that he, as a ruler in the Pharisees, a teacher, had duties and obligations during the day, and that Jesus was also extremely busy during the day teaching and healing folks. So the night hours was a time of relaxation, and Nicodemus took the time to go to Jesus, and Jesus never rebuked him for coming at night. I rejoice in the fact that Nicodemus came to Jesus. So we run into Nicodemus here in chapter 3. Let me go a little further and say this, that this conversation is born out of Jesus and Nicodemus meeting at night. Our greatest verse that we have that explains salvation, John 3:16, came out of this conversation that Jesus was having with Nicodemus. This is where Nicodemus first appeared. And then, if you go with me to John chapter 7, verse 51, there you will find Nicodemus again. Nicodemus is now standing before the Sanhedrin. He is arguing for Jesus. I believe that what is happening to Jesus, that it was unfair, and he wanted Jesus to be heard out. And they even asked him, are you a believer? Are you a believer? Have he persuaded you as well? Then if you go into John chapter 19, this is one of the wonderful things that we learn about Nicodemus, and we find that Jesus had been crucified, and Nicodemus goes to the officials, the Roman officials, and bargain for the body of Jesus Christ. Where were the disciples? They knew that our Lord should have had a Jewish burial, but yet they were in hiding, afraid from their life. But however, we find that Nicodemus bargained for the body of Jesus, not fearful of their lives, and they give to Jesus a Jewish burial. They wash, they clean his body, and prepare it for burial. And we see Nicodemus taking a part of that. All right, I pray that this has been helpful to you. If you have any more questions or comments, the information is below the screen. Please do not hesitate. I will get to it at some point in time. All right, God bless you, and I want to thank you for tuning in to Grace Missionary Fellowship. I am your host, the Reverend Gary Spears of Grace Missionary.